WhatsApp announces disappearing messages feature. It also brings payments to India. Web stories start appearing in Google search's Discover section. Facebook gives practical tips for writing advertising copy. All of this news and much more in our edition of the Connected Church News this week. I'm Natchi Lazarus, and this is a show that brings you the top 5 digital and social media news each week in less than 5 minutes. Let's get started. Our first big news is from WhatsApp. We actually had 2 major announcements from WhatsApp last week. One is about a new feature called disappearing messages. This has been something that has been requested for a very long time, and finally it comes to WhatsApp. And this is a feature where you can send a message to a particular person and the chat will disappear after 7 days. You have to enable it for that to happen, and WhatsApp has given step-by-step instruction on how to enable it for various devices like Apple, Android and desktop. We will link to all those details in the show notes. Do check it out and test whether this is something that is going to work for you. The second big announcement is about WhatsApp's rollout of payments option in India. They have been rolling out this option in Brazil and other places, and now it comes to India, which is one of the largest markets for WhatsApp. And India also has a big digital payment system, and WhatsApp has released details on how this is going to work. And initially they are rolling it out in a phased manner. They have been working on this for quite some time, but it seems like now they have a go ahead to move forward and start rolling out in a wide scale. This is a big exciting move in the digital payment space. Do check out this news. Hi, if you have not subscribed to us yet, I highly recommend that you go ahead and subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any weekly episode that we release with the top 5 news of the industry. Alright, thank you. Now let's go back to our news item. Our next news is from Google, and this is about a product called Web Stories that we had talked about earlier in our news section. And now Google has announced that this Web Stories format is starting to appear on Google Search at the top of Google Search on your mobile app in certain places like US, Brazil and India. And they have announced that this is going to start taking a prominent real estate. Just imagine you search for something and one of the first things that will appear on Google Search is that web story. So I highly recommend that you as a non-profit or ministry take a look at this feature. It's not very complicated to create. It is just like Instagram stories or Facebook stories, but only it comes from your website. So it's not dependent on any social media channel. It's there on your website, and Google pulls it up and shows it as part of the search results. So I will link to all the stories and even instructions on how you can go about using the 2 plugins or tools that Google itself provides if you're using a WordPress website. So this is something that you definitely want to pass on to your website or media team. Our next news is from Telegram. Telegram has been gaining momentum for the last few months, and now they have recently announced the release of new features including pinned messages, live locations, playlists, and many more other new features. If you are a non-profit or ministry that uses Telegram in certain locations around the world where it's extremely popular with their bot features and many advanced features, then this is a news that you do want to have a look at and see how you can use these new features to minister to people in these locations. Our next news is from YouTube. YouTube has been focusing on its music app and improving it in the last few weeks. We've been having a lot of interesting features added to it, and now YouTube has announced that personalization features are being added to music app. That includes a section called My Mix, which will have a mix of music but personalized and based on your interest. The interesting thing is they're also adding a section where they have music content for various activities like workout or when you need to focus and do some activity on your in your computer or something, but you want a music that could help you focus, or for relaxation, or for during commute and so on. So they are bringing in music based on activity. So if you are a non-profit or ministry that's focused on music as a music ministry, then this is something that you definitely want to check out and see if you can present your content to people in these specific relevant circumstances so that it's very contextual for the audience and it also ministers to them in a very meaningful way. Our final news of this week is from Facebook. Facebook has released tips on how to make your advertising copy and overall your advertising strategy more successful. They have actually released a formula for successful ad copy. So it's very interesting. It's a very simple but very effective formula, especially when you see these platforms like Facebook release these tips. It's important to pay attention because they are indirectly telling you that this is what will work for them. So when you're trying to use a platform, it's best to go into their head and kind of understand what works for them and do exactly as prescribed. That is one of the best way to be more successful on any platform, including Facebook. So if you release Facebook ads for your ministry, especially during this holiday season, then this is an article that you definitely want to check out or pass it on to your social media team. That's all I have for you this week. But wait, do you want to keep learning about digital and social media and learn how to use it for your ministry growth and expansion? Then you definitely want to check out this playlist that has answers to some of the key questions that even you might have in your mind. Do check it out.